I was gonna say, is anybody else joining us?
Hmm?
I didn't know if anybody else was joining us.
It's Austin's birthday, so I don't expect to see her on. Lacey might, Jessica might, I don't know. I do know that
Mama.
Mel is going to be catching the recording, so I know that. And then I think Emily, so Emily is, she asked me for the link for team calls as well. So we'll see. I mean, sometimes people just like getting on, but I'm not gonna wait. I'm just gonna go ahead and get started, and then they can catch up. If I can find, all right, here it is.
You need to go.
So,
what?
let me share. I'm gonna share with you guys the slides. Can you guys see that? Okay. Give me a thumbs up. Okay, great. So we're going to be covering how to earn as a coach. Now, it can be a lot of information and it can feel a little overwhelming, but I feel like unless we understand this, right, it's really cool that what we get to do is way above just making money, right? That we have a purpose, that we have a mission on this team. And I really think that now more than ever, and I was talking about this in our team chat, we have an opportunity to really be light, right? And what I mean by that is that there's so much negativity, uncertainty, fear, anxiety going on in our world right now. And it's not just on social media, but I feel like the social media world is like at its worst right now. Like literally, I don't know if you guys have done this, but if you scroll through your newsfeed, and I am really vigilant about my newsfeed and who I follow and who I am very quick to unfollow somebody that's constantly negative. I am I guard my energy on my social media really, really well, because I know that I work on it. I spend a lot of time on it. So I know that what I'm consuming on social media, like I'm very conscious about that. And I'm finding, even with all those precautions, I'm finding that, when I scroll through my newsfeed right now, it is a whole lot of bad and negative. And I don't know about you guys, but like I just feel drained to the point where I don't even want to be on social media right now, right? I was even tempted like to just, and I kind of have been, even like kind of shutting it out, because while I was in Israel, that's what I did, and and it was refreshing not to have that like energy drained out of me every single day. And so I came back here. And now I'm like, okay, well, I got to get back to work, right? I got to go send my invites and do my, you guys know, my power hour, and I got to be on social media. So there's no really a way to avoid it. And I found myself dreading it because what I see out there is just, it's just sad. It's just sad. And it's just reminding me, and it's kind of like painting a picture of the world that I don't want to see. Like, I don't want to believe that people are negative and selfish and, all like, let me fend for myself. And I don't want to believe that. Like, it really makes me disheartened and just like sad about humans as a whole. And it makes me not want to participate in that world. And so as I was going through that and I was thinking about this, I was, kind of like trying to process through these emotions and why was I feeling this way? And as a leader, how am I going to reach my team? Because I know if I'm feeling this way, they're probably feeling the same way. And so how do I deal with this? How do I process it? And how do I help everybody see past that, right? Because like I said in our team chat, I really believe that now more than ever, we're being called up to leadership. I feel like social media is our world. We spend a lot of time on it because this is where we work from. And so we understand it, we get it, we consume it. We also put out a lot of information out there, right? And we put ourselves on social media, and we have a strong social media presence, whether we're watching it or we're participating on it or whatever it is that we're in it, right? And so how do we, as a team, how do we process through all the stuff that's going on? And how do we come out on the other end? Because like I said on our team chat, if we're saying and doing what everybody else is doing, then we're really not being leaders, right? Then we're just being followers, and we're just going along with what everybody else is doing, right? And that is not, if we're not happy with what we're seeing, right? If we are not happy with it. And I think, I don't think, I know that as in a level of judgment, of judging others, and being able to participate in social media and kind of withdraw ourselves from it at the same time, I think we kind of stand in a position where we do that really well. And if we are not able to do that, right? If we as coaches who have this ability to kind of like, we don't have this, it's them against us mentality. We kind of see things differently. If we're not able to take the negative out of social media, if we're not able to filter through that, then imagine the people who don't have that skill, the people that are there just consuming it and that are actually being fed all of this. Imagine what's going on in their lives. And so we have all this fear and anxiety surrounding us in what's going on in the world, right? Because this is not just affecting us here, this is affecting us worldwide. So we have all of this going on in the world. And then we also have our little, like we're our little safe place, which is home, where we're supposed to be home, and we're supposed to be safe, and we're supposed to be happy, and we're supposed to, be in our little bubble. But that's being infiltrated through social media, through what they're consuming and what they're seeing. And so now we have no escape. And imagine the level of anxiety and fear raises like tenfold, because we now don't have an escape. Where our escape used to be social media, now we don't have that. And so as I'm processing through this and I'm thinking about it, the solution, which to us may feel like the best thing to do, is to just, all right, I don't want to be on social media anymore, which I guarantee you is what a lot of people are thinking, right? Because if we're thinking it, they're thinking it. So you got to think about it that way. So even though our first impulse is to say, I don't want to be here anymore, and I'm just going to go back into my little bubble and shut this all down out and pretend like it doesn't exist. If our impulse is that's their impulse as well. But what if we had someone, right? Or if we had a way to infiltrate that world, and instead of bringing more fear and more anxiety and more of the negativity, what if we were to be that one little beacon of light that brought hope, that brought calm, that brought peace, that brought light, that brought joy? What if we could be that person? And I think, because of our position and what we've done so far, like what we do as a team, be it with our challenge groups, with our posts, with everything and all the work that we do on social media, I think that we are well positioned to be that light. And so as I was processing through this and thinking about it and thinking about what to say, I mean, I had the idea to talk about how to earn as a coach. And I think that, yes, very much so, we need to talk about this, because if we are just giving and never receiving, then at some point we're just going to feel depleted. And so we have to give, and we also have to receive. And we receive in many ways. And one of the ways that we receive is financially. It's a blessing in our lives, and being able to provide for our families through this opportunity. So we're going to talk about that. But I also wanted to start off the call with that. I really want to encourage you guys to embrace the situation that we're in right now, to embrace the times that we're in. And I know they're hard. And I know our instinct is to protect ourselves and to protect our families and to kind of remove ourselves from what's going on. But as leaders, we are called to rise above that and to really be that person that is going to be willing to go against the social norm, and to be, that voice or that people need to hear, because people are looking for someone to lead them out of the situation, and that person can be you. And don't doubt yourself, because what you've done in your coaching career, however long you've been a coach, the work that you've done in yourself physically and mentally, most importantly mentally, um, that work is not in vain. Like, there is a purpose and a reason behind that. Most people don't practice self-growth. They don't work on that. They don't work on their mindsets. They don't have the resources. They don't have the coping skills. And you do, and you can teach them that, and you can show them how to do that. And that is priceless. And I hope you guys understand like what that means right now for the world that we live in. And so my heart is that you will embrace that you will be able to step above and rise above the situation that we're in, and to just find that voice, and to have that, that bravery that it requires to really speak what's on your heart, and to let people know, that they're cared about, that they're loved, and that you are there for them. And so we really need to be doing that right now, loving on people more than we ever have, you know, um, not judging, and just kind of embracing where people are, and trying to understand that these are hard times that we're all going through as humans, and that, you are someone who can see through that, and that can help them find their way, like, out of all of this negativity that's going on. So yeah, so that was a big rant, but that's what's in my heart, and I hope I translated that well. But um it was hard for me as well. So and it is hard for me, and I'm trying to process it along with you guys. So my heart is really to just kind of put my own feelings aside, and try to look for a way to serve. And of course, like, I'm going to start serving by serving you guys. And so that was my heart to you. So hopefully you guys can take something out of that. So let's talk about how to earn money. So like I said, if we are in this position where we are always constantly giving, and we are, right, we're always adding value, we're always giving people tips and information, and giving people our time, and we do all of this a lot of times out of the goodness of our heart, without expecting anything in return, right? And we are always so giving. And I think as a team, we do a really good job in attracting people who are givers, who are people who like to help others, who genuinely have fallen in love with the mission, and who really want to be in a place where they can help other people. But when we are just giving and not getting anything in return, what can happen is we feel as if we're not, that we're being taken advantage of, and that our time is not being well spent. And when we do that, what happens is that we just tend to kind of fall out of love with what we do. And so it is really important that you're making money. If you want to continue to give in the way that you do, it's important that you continue to bring on an income, because that's going to be like the reassurance that you're doing something, not just for yourself, but for your family as well. And it's going to be that tangible thing, because a lot of times, I mean, we can go through a really long time giving and not getting anything in return. And like I said, that's really frustrating. But when at least that money is coming into the bank account, we can feel safe that what we're putting our time and effort into is not being in vain. And so I think it's really important that we're getting something out of this opportunity as well, not just giving, but also receiving. And I know for me, I receive in many ways. It's not just money, but I think sometimes for me goes a long way. But how many of you guys know sometimes we can go a really long time without getting that recognition? We do all of these good things and nobody seems to notice sometimes. So having that money coming in really is nice. So as you know, we earn money with Beachbody in two ways, right? One is through your personal sales. And this is what most of the newer coaches, when they come into the business, that's the immediate way that they see money. It's through our commissions, right? So anybody you sign up, be it customer or coach, you get a 25% commission on all of their purchases and subscriptions. However, when you sign up a coach, you're kind of giving up that 25% commission, you get it on their first order, but then from there on after, you do not earn commissions on their orders, but you do earn team cycle bonuses, and I will talk about that in a minute. And then the second way that we earn money is through team sales. And team sales, they give you, like, whatever your team produces, they get to keep, right? So whatever sales they make, their commissions go straight to them. But you do get rewarded by Beachbody with a team cycle bonus, which you earn as it's in accordance to what your team produces. So we're going to talk a little bit more about team cycle bonuses, because I feel like that's the place where most people get stuck. But those are the two ways that we earn money as coaches, right? You earn a commission on everything in the Beachbody shop. So there's nothing that you sell that you do not earn a commission on. And this, it comes straight from the back office, you guys. So if you're ever curious, like, how much money would I make if I sold a 21-day fix challenge pack, you can go in the back office and it will tell you exactly how much. See in red here, it will tell you how much you earn in retail. So this is the amount that you make after you sell that challenge pack, right? So also back there is, you should really try to understand the difference between personal volume, team volume, commissions, and subscriptions, because they all are different numbers. I don't know if you guys ever noticed, like, I'll pull this back up and you will see, do you see up here, coach price, PV, TV? So personal volume is what you earn in volume for that sale. So what it comes to you. So this, when we're talking about PV, we're talking about, you know how you need your 50 PV to stay active? That's your personal volume. That's what you've ordered or what you've sold as a coach. When you're talking about total value, that is different. That's a different, I'm sorry, team value, not volume, not total. That's different from your personal volume. That's what you actually account for when you're talking about team cycle bonuses. So you can see, for example, a challenge pack, the PV is way higher than the team volume. And there's a discrepancy there. And then you should understand that the amount, like the dollar amount of what you sell, does not equate the same thing as a team volume. And when we're talking about team cycle bonuses, that makes a huge difference. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in the end, towards the end there. But you should understand the difference between those, personal volume and team volume. And if you don't know that, like, it's listed here, but you guys can go to the back office and look those up. Right? And you can go under monitor my business. All of the stuff that I'm looking at, you can see under team volume. If you go under monitor my business, you can go under compensation and look up team volume. So your PV, as you see here, is the first number, and that's how much you have in personal volume. So that's how much you've sold and bought in products total for yourself. And then you will see to the left is your left leg volume, and on the right is your right leg volume, right? And we'll talk about those in a minute too. So setting income goals for yourself is really important in the beginning, because if you're putting time and effort into this, you want to make sure that the time and effort that you're putting into it is you're being rewarded for that, right? Nobody wants to work for free. So it's some of the questions that you can ask yourself right in the beginning is, how much money do you need to earn per week or per month? Right? Some of you may be signing up because you want to make a car payment, or you want to, pay off your credit card, and you have a very specific amount that you need to earn in order to do that. So that would be a really good goal for you to set, right? And then some of you may not have that goal, but that doesn't mean that you may not have a number, but you still need to set a goal. I used to think about it this way. As a nurse, I used to make what was it, $15, $17 an hour? I can't remember anymore, but it was somewhere around that range right there. And I knew how much I made every single week. Now, I knew how many hours I put in to earn that. And so I thought to myself, I'm going to work, be my Beachbody business for, however long, like 2 or 3 hours a day, let's say, which translated into 15 hours a week. Okay, so how much money do I need to make per hour? how much is, like, if I'm making $15 at the hospital, then I want to be making the same amount of money. Like, I still want to be making $15 an hour as a coach. And so I thought to myself, if I'm working 15 hours a week and I earn $15, how much is that? And that was my first goal, right? And I think in the beginning I was only working five, like I would work an hour a day. So it was 5 hours a week. So it was much easier math, because it was those five hours a week. And I made $15 a week. Then I knew that I needed to make $75 every week in order to be earning the same that I did as a nurse. Does that make sense? I hope that made sense. But you break it down per hours, and then you know how much you need to put in, how many hours you need to put into of work every day. Now, when I say hours of work, I don't mean like scrolling Facebook. I mean, like, that's your focus time where you're actually doing income producing activities, like inviting and talking to people in your messenger, in your DMs, right? This is actual work that you're doing, not just scrolling through Facebook or doing anything that you think is building your business, but this is actual activities that actually produce income, which is inviting and talking to people and following up, right? So that was very simple and easy for me to do. How many challenge packs? So now if I know that I need to earn $75 per week, and that translates into 150, so $300 a month. That means I have to sell 6 challenge packs. So that's Success Club 12. Does that make sense? So I had it broken down, not just per the amount that I needed to make, but I also knew how many challenge packs I needed to sell. And if it meant I needed to sell 6 challenge packs, then that meant that I needed to be selling 1 or 2 challenge packs every week. And so that was very easy to break down those goals to make it happen. And so this is something, I'm giving you my numbers, but that doesn't mean that necessarily needs to be your numbers. Maybe you need to make $10 a week, an hour. Maybe you need to make 20. I don't know, because I don't know what your situation is. For me, making $15 an hour at that point was like that was all I needed. And that was, once I set that goal and I could conquer that goal, like I saw myself hitting it like month after month without a problem, then I could raise up the level and change my goal and double it or whatever it was, so I could keep on making more money. So that was pretty much how I did that in the beginning. Setting income goals. So I just went over this, right? Oh, this is good because it actually shows you as well, like things that you can how you can achieve that. Like, for example, for her here, the goal is $208, right? So she needed to make $208 a month. Or maybe this was a week, I don't know. But she actually breaks it down with not just challenge packs. She actually, like, you can add, what are some things that you can add to the carts that will also drive up your PV and drive up your income, right? So I have gotten into the habit of doing this, where I will add something, like I'll pay attention when I'm interviewing them and I'm asking them questions. I'll pay attention to what their problems are. And then I will recommend, like, if they tell me, oh, I don't have the motivation, like I know I need to wake up early and work out, but I don't have the motivation, and I add in, like, I'll tell them whatever challenge pack I think is the most appropriate for them. And then I'll add in the energize. And when I send the card over, I tell them, hey, by the way, I added my go-go juice into your box. Feel free to take it out if you don't want it. But when you mentioned that you have a hard time getting up in the morning, I knew that this would be something that would help you. And so I add that in. It's very easy to do. And then a lot of times people are like, yeah, I think I need it. And they try it and they love it. Right? So it's just a matter of, like, what are the things that you can offer? Like, if they tell you that they have a hard time, like, with snackings, or like they don't have time to eat, offer them a beach bar. If they tell you that they want to lose weight fast right away, like, add a 3-day refresh. There's certain things that you can listen to. They'll tell you, and then those are the things that you add to the cart, and then you let them know at the end. Remember that residual income really matters. Like, every month when you're focused on growth, it adds up, right? Because you're not just getting that customer for that month. If you're following up with them and if you're like pointing out the things that Shakeology is doing for them, they're gonna want to stay on it. And so as you retain your customers, like if you really get focused about retaining them, not just signing them up, but actually retaining them as customers, you will see that your income begins to grow. These are ways that you can hit Success Club. Very, very simple. I think I have this picture up on our team page, so I won't spend too much time on it, but there's different ways that you can earn Success Club. Understand the legs of your business. I think this is where we kind of start to lose people because it gets a little complicated. How many of you have seen this little graph here before and it like makes you cross-eyed, right? Because you don't understand what it means. So basically, when we're talking about the second way of earning an income through Beachbody, we're talking about team cycle bonuses. And in order to earn this, you have to actually be an emerald or above. You don't earn it until you become an emerald coach. Once you're an emerald coach, you start earning team cycle bonuses, and you are eligible to win this as long as you are, not to win it, but to receive it. As long as you're an emerald coach, you're an active coach, right? And then you have 2 active coaches under you. So you have to actually still be an active emerald in order to earn it. Now, when we talk about team cycle bonuses, for every 200 PV, or TV, not PV, TV. Remember we were talking about that? There's a difference between team volume and personal volume. The TV is significantly lower than what the PV is. So you have to keep an eye out for this. And again, you can look through this in the first page of the Monitor Your Business under compensation and team volume is where you can see this. Now, for every 200 points that you have on one leg to 100 points that you have on the other leg, you earn 1 cycle. So that varies by like how by your rank. So if you're an emerald coach, you earn $14 per cycle, and you make up to $250 a week. After you get to 250, you top out. You cannot get more than $250 per week. Then as a Ruby, you go up to $16 and your top out is at $1,000 per week. And as a Diamond, you can earn up to $2,000 per week, and your cycle bonus is worth $18. It may not look like a big difference, but it makes a big difference when you're cycling a lot. Talking about like hundreds of dollars once you've reached that, that place. So a lot of people want to know, like, what's my weak leg and what's my strong leg? It really varies per person. It really is going to matter, like who you have on your legs, right? If you have somebody that is actually like a powerhouse that is always signing up new customers and that buys a lot of products, you will see that their team volume is really, really high. And that's why we talk, and that's their PV. Even though it translates to TV for you, their PV should be 500. Like we always tell people, like your PV, you should aim to be a 500 PV coach or more. Because when you are that 500 PV coach, you are earning a lot of volume for yourself, and you're also helping the team cycle more. So you're helping yourself and you're helping the team. So it depends on where your strong leg and your weak leg are. It depends on what kind of coaches you have on your legs, because you're always going to have the strong leg that your sponsor coach is contributing to. And so you don't really need to build that leg as long as your sponsor coach is somebody who is actually working the business. If they are going to be signing up coaches, and those coaches are going to come in under you. And although you may see them in your organization, they're not necessarily your coaches, but their orders and their volume does come up to you. So you actually earn that. So it is important for you to know which is your weak and your strong leg, and you'll only be able to tell this if you can actually log on to your back office and look and see where your PV is higher or where your TV is higher. Is it on the left or is it on the right? Because it's going to vary by person. And so once you figure out which one is your strong leg, you want to make sure that you start stacking people underneath your weak leg, right? Because your weak leg needs to catch up. And the more equal that they are, the more you're going to cycle. So it is something that's completely under your control. We see here paychecks, and it does accumulate. As you can see, this is not my paycheck. This is Melanie's, but you can see like here she started and she was making $0 and $0 in the beginning when she first signed up, and then she started. Yeah, this is hers because I signed up 2 years after her. So you see like first check $27, second check, and then she goes a long time without getting a check, and then it starts to add up. Look, then 29, and then she jumps up to 269, and then she starts to actually make money. And this is where she started to make money and probably see the opportunity. So it makes a big difference. If you actually look through your paycheck, so if you click on monitor my business and commissions, you can click under your paid, like I forget what it's called. I'm going to show you guys. I'll go back up there. Earnings and commissions. If you go under compensation and you look under earnings and commissions, you will see, where is that? Okay, so you see this breakdown right here, right? And so you have the top one is your retail commission. So this is what you've sold in products. And then underneath in subscription commission, this is what you sold in memberships. This team bonus is what you've earned in team cycle bonus. So you can start seeing how that accumulates as well. This was early on in Melanie's business, but look, $452. The fast start bonus is what you make when you sign up a coach. So it's that initial bonus that you get when you sign up a new coach. And it does add up. And so I don't know what this is. I'm not really sure. Some of the stuff that she is showing here, it breaks down to what you sold and what the commission was for that product. So if you actually click on your retail, that's probably what this is. If you click on your retail, it will show you exactly where that money came from. Like what were the products that were sold and what was the commission that you earned from it. Then you can see here, this is just, so that was in January, this is August, and you can see how by building a team, what kind of difference that makes, because you can see here in January, she was only making $56 in her team cycle bonuses. But as she started to build a team, look at how much she jumped up to on team bonuses. It's almost caught up to her retail commissions. And now in less than in 8 months, she has more than doubled her income. And so it's really cool to see how that plays out, because I really think that the team cycle bonuses is where the money is. If you're thinking about doing this long term and you're thinking about really earning like a full-time type income from this, it really is a matter of building a team. So we cannot afford to just sign up customers. We really have to be recruiting, because that is where you're going to start to find your people. And that's when you're going to find people that build the business alongside you. And that is what is going to drive the teams, not only yourselves, but everybody else's income up. Because once you're producing and you have those big like rock stars in your team who are constantly selling and they're producing a lot of volume, that's when you're going to start to see your income go up as well. So that was a lot of information. I hope that was helpful. But what's the plan? Like, we talk about all this and how do you do this, right? You see all of these possibilities and how you make money, but what do you actually implement out of this? Step number one is hit Success Club. That has really to be a non-negotiable. And I know that we talk about this a lot. I mean, I feel like that's all I talk about is Success Club. And it's more than just the number. It doesn't matter if it's Success Club 5 or 10 or 20 or 30, but really Success Club isn't something that was imposed by me or anybody else because they thought it was cute. It really is like they are drivers for your business. It's so you know that you're doing all the right activities and that what you're doing is actually being effective. If you're doing all the right activities, but you're not hitting Success Club, you have to be honest with yourself and admit that what you're doing is not working. And so at that point, you really have to break down your process and your system. And you have to figure out, like, where is the missing link? What am I doing or not doing that is keeping me from getting the results that I want, right? Because it is something that's achievable and we all know how to do it. But if something is broken in that system, or if something is missing and you're not getting to the end result, then you need to fix it. Because if you just keep trying to do the same thing over and over again and it never works, you're just wasting your time. So you really need to narrow it down and say, okay, this is what I'm doing. And then my advice is talk to your coach. Talk to someone who's actually hitting Success Club, and go over your system and be honest with them and say, listen, this is what I do. And these are the results that I get. And hopefully you'll have a coach that's candid enough and that is honest enough with you, that will tell you, okay, listen, maybe it's not what you need to hear, but this is what you're not doing. This is what you need to do. Because that's what a coach is supposed to do. They're supposed to mentor you and guide you in the right direction. If you're not getting to the end result, you're not doing the right things. And so it needs to be fixed. That's number one. Number two, strive towards 500 PV every single week. And so I know we talk a lot about Success Club and challenge packs and all that stuff, but if you guys paid attention in the beginning as I was going over PV and TV and how they're two different things, your TV doesn't contribute at all to your PV. So when you have to be worried about that 500 PV in order to drive that team cycle bonus up, right? Those are the things that are important for you. So that's going to drive your income. That's going to produce residual income. So you got to be focused on that, and kind of like, don't get so caught up on the challenge packs. They will come. They're still a really good solution. If you're being a good coach and you're making good recommendations, a challenge pack is always going to be best for the customer, right? Unless the customer can't afford the challenge pack, unless the customer doesn't need the challenge pack. If they already go to the gym, why are you going to force BOD on them? They don't need it. Just, give them what they need. Maybe it's just the nutrition. Maybe it's just Shakeology. Maybe it's just Energize. Give them what they need. You don't need to force products on anybody, but you do need to make the best recommendation for them. And so if that recommendation is the challenge pack, by all means, offer the challenge pack. But if it is not, then don't offer it. Like, just give them what they need and what they're asking for. I feel like my biggest pet peeve is that when people ask, like, they come to you and they ask you for something, and you're like, oh, well, yeah, well, we have that, but this is better. And you're just trying to serve yourself and not serve the customer. Like, don't do that. Like, I cannot enforce that enough. If the customer comes to you and they ask you for something, don't try to upsell them or sell them something else. Only offer them what you know would help them. I hope that comes through the right way, because yes, we're all striving for more money. Yes, we're all trying to drive our incomes up. Yes, we're all doing that. It's a business after all. But at the same time, you should never put your own needs above that of your customer, because that's a really quick way to lose a customer and lose their trust, and to just not have them at all, and to actually not serve them. The last thing I want as a coach is to offer them something that they're not going to use, right? I don't want to sell anybody anything that they're not going to use. It's going to stay in a shelf and it's not going to serve them. So I hope that comes off the right way. Add coaches to your team. That's number 3. Like we saw with Melanie's example, that building of the team makes all of the difference. So we really need to be striving for that when we're looking at building our income up, right? Building our team cycle bonuses up. It really is about recruiting and adding coaches to your team. Get to diamond as soon as possible and keep your diamond so that you're getting those $18 cycle bonuses, because that's where you top out, right? You want to make sure that you're getting that. And then set a time for that. Don't just say, oh yeah, it'd be nice to be diamond someday. No, give yourself a deadline. A goal without a deadline is just a wish, right? So you need to set that goal and you need to give it a time frame and then come up with an action plan. Like, how are you actually going to do it? And, for me, when I set up recruiting goals, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to host a coach sneak peek and I'm going to recruit and I'm going to post 3 times about coaching and I'm going to talk to this many people about coaching. Like, I have a plan. I don't just say, oh yeah, it would be nice to get there, because that's just wishing that it would happen. That's not really going to help you. And then Star Diamond and Two Star Diamond. Two Star Diamond, I feel like, is where the money is at, because that's when you really get to open your second CVC and you really have control over how much money you're bringing in. Oh yeah, see, she said the same thing. To open a second CVC, because that is controllable. That is completely up to you, and your income is totally like more reliable. Like, I know how much I'm gonna make every week, even though like I may not make a single sale. I may not make any money, but I know how much I'm going to make every single week because of my second CVC and how I control that volume that goes up there. And then remember that everything rises and falls on your consistency, dedication, and duplication. We tend to think that, you know, we're not doing as well as somebody else because, you know, oh, that person has more time, or that person has a great Instagram following, or this person is just so outgoing and I'm not, and she does great live videos and I do not, and that is why I'm not being successful. Honestly, you guys, that's just bullshit. You're just feeding that to yourself to try and convince yourself of why you're not doing the things that you said you were going to do. And everything really, it does fall back on your consistency. How often are you showing up, and are you showing up with intention? Are you being dedicated enough to this business where you're actually treating it like a business and not just a hobby? And are you worried about duplication? Are you teaching other people what you know? Are you actually like passing that down to someone else? And are you helping your coaches grow? Because unless you're doing all of those things, you can be doing everything right, but if those things are not aligned, if you're not doing those things first and foremost, you're not going to see your business grow. So it is a lot. And I hope, like, as you're listening to this, you're taking notes and you're thinking of the things that you need to do next, because we can get so overwhelmed with all of the things, right? We listen to these calls and we're like, oh, I got to do this and I got to do that. And then we never really actually put anything into practice. And so I think when I take notes, I go back and I look and I see what is the one. I'm always asking myself, like, what is the one thing that I need to implement right away? And then if I could do this, and it usually is something simple, if I can do this on a daily basis with consistency and master it, that's going to drive my business up. And so I'm constantly looking for these things, because we think that it's all of the things that are going to make a difference, but really it's just normally it's like a little tweak that you make that will make like a little 2 millimeter difference in how you run your business, that will make this huge impact when like the end of the year comes and you look at like, oh my gosh, I really did double my income, I tripled my income. How did I do it? It was that simple thing. I promise you, if you ask any of the top coaches what was it that they did, they'll tell you it will be something so small and seemingly insignificant, right? This is what we learn with that first PD that we read, which is the compound effect by Darren Hardy. That's exactly what he talks about, and I think it's so true. It's so basic and so overlooked, but it is so true. So I hope that was helpful. I'm gonna stop my share. Laura, you're still here. I thought you were going to go out.